Okay, look. This. All of this. This right here. Are you seeing this? Do you see this? Because I'm seeing this. And I know what some people are probably thinking. This looks bad. But no. It's fucking awesome. Now, I do need to explain some stuff before I get into this chapter. If you have been on the channel for a while, you would know I played the Danganronpa games. But you may not know, I tend to hate the third chapters in all of those games. Because they're very fucking predictable. Every time you get into the third chapter, you get two characters that die. Most times these are characters that like no one cares about. Like, I'm not kidding when I say this. Pretty much every character that dies in the third chapter, I don't care for. Like Tenka. Now, I will admit, there are some characters I like, but not all of them. And even the characters I do like are still very low on the totem pole. So when going into the chapter, I was expecting to not enjoy it for some reason. Maybe because it was made by Spy Chainsaw. I don't really know. And maybe that's why I like this chapter so much. Because we get so much in this one chapter that I'm actually surprised by how much we get. Like, holy shit. All the characters in this chapter are really good. I love Yomi Hausmao as the villain. Just in case you guys didn't know. He's by far my favorite villain in the entire game so far. You do have Martina, and Martina is also really good. Probably number 2. And I will say, I wasn't expecting to see her so soon. But she is very confident in an intimidating character. That is actually really fucking cool to see her. And then we get to the end, and she loses. And you really see how this affects her. Like, my boy Yomi comes in and is like, you failed me for the last time, bitch. You're gonna fucking pay. And then she starts losing her shit. All that confidence was gone, just thrown out the fucking window. And it shows that this guy is just no one to fuck around with. He is just pure, unadulterated evil. And I love that. I love that so much. You don't even understand. I love it. And I can't wait to see him again. But there's other characters that we need to talk about. So let's go talk about them. Dezuhiko is not what I was expecting. He's a pervert. But I will say he does have some comedic scenes. And I actually liked his banter with Yuma in this chapter. It's actually really cool to see that. He does help the others and is going through a lot of strain for his friends, since his forte allows him to change others and himself to look like whoever. But this makes him very exhausted. So the group has to kind of work fast so he can kind of keep the ability up. Which honestly adds a bit of tension to the whole chapter. And I was like thinking, we're probably going to get caught sooner or later. And eventually we do. But obviously we have the Mystery Labyrinth, so we're good. Speaking of Mystery Labyrinth, we got Shinigami acting like a jealous girlfriend, which is both funny and kind of annoying. This is showing her in a situation where Yuma is getting close with another girl and wanting to help her, and for some reason she doesn't like that, even though we had a whole chapter with Halara. That never came up there, but whatever. And I will say, there are some funny scenes that come from this, but ultimately, I will say it starts to get annoying after a while. Like, we get it. You don't like her. Stop being a fucking bitch. Now we get to the main character. And Yuma, I fucking love him as the main character. I love this guy. I won't lie and say that I thought he was going to be like Naegi from Danganronpa 1. And although I like Naegi, he's a very plain protagonist. He's your typical good guy character that you follow. Not really that interesting. But this chapter really has Yuma questioning himself on whether he wants to be a detective or not, because every time he does something bad happens, and his friends are put in danger, and since he doesn't have his memories, he has to figure out why he chose to sign the contract with Shinigami. If anything, he's kind of more like Shuichi in that regard. Shuichi, the entire game, is questioning if finding the actual truth is a good thing, since so much sadness and despair comes from it, but he continues because the person he kind of loves wanted him to do it because it's just the right thing to do. And it's the reason why I love Shuichi and Kokichi as characters, because they show the good and bad of both truth and lies, and how they both have the pros and cons just depending on how you look at them, which is really interesting, and it's why I really like Danganronpa V3. And then now we get into the new characters for this chapter, because they introduce a lot of cool characters. And I will say, Kurumi is really sweet and fun, and Yuma having a little sidekick was not what I was expecting. But it's kind of cute to see her want to help Yuma and Ati think he's a good detective and wants to just help him. And Ati thinks he's a really good guy and he helps a lot of people, which obviously he does, but she doesn't really know that he's just a trainee and he doesn't really have that confidence in himself. So to have a character that like is really confident in him when he doesn't have confidence in himself, that's really cool. It's really nice to see her look up to him. even though he's shorter than her. Then we have the best characters in this chapter, the 3 killers. And I never thought I was going to care for these characters, but learning why they did this was actually the most heartbreaking part of the whole chapter. Their friend Aiko died because of this bitch right here. And after learning this, they tried to convince the police, but they didn't care. So now they're like, okay, well fuck this, we're gonna kill her. And that's exactly what they do. And they have no regret when they do it, or when they die. They just don't care. They don't care for the school, for the play, they don't care for any of that. They had one job, and they get it done. They get it done. And you just learn that they only want to be with their friend. And having avenged them, they just hope that Aiko would still be their friend afterward. They don't really care, like I said, for anything else. They just want to be with Aiko. They just want to be with their best friend. And the entire time trying to find out who did it had me going through a few loops, I can't lie. Because the way she ends up dying was in a way that kind of felt like they just got lucky. But they obviously had a plan. And when you learn the plan, holy shit, was it a good ass plan. Like, breaking this down as you go through the mystery labyrinth was fucking insane. Like, these girls have a more intricate murder than most Danganronpa characters do. Like, holy shit, they don't even have powers or abilities. They're not really good at anything, they're just high school girls. Those characters are like ultimate assassins, and they don't hold a candle to these characters. And to see the characters actually struggle throughout this entire chapter was really satisfying for me, because it shows that this wasn't just a simple murder and the characters can just answer everything with no problem. They had to actually put their heads together and work together as a team to get the job done. It wasn't super simple. They had to really figure out why and how this all happened. Then you would think that's it, right? That's the whole chapter, and it's like, no, there's still more, buddy. We learned that the Peacekeepers are making a homunculus, which I'll be honest, I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm a dumb YouTuber, okay? You're gonna learn that pretty fast on this fucking channel, which is obviously the first sign of us getting anything done as well. Like, this is the first time we have to get a bit of information for Contact Watch What's Secret. And it's nice that Yuma was the one who figured it out and got this, because this is showing some level of growth for him as a detective. And Yako is still acting like the worried parent that he is, which is still pretty funny. And the elders are actually praising Yuma for finding this information, since they're obviously master detectives, they have experience, and they didn't find any of this. They didn't get this, but Yuma did, because obviously he's the main character. He kind of has to. Then the submarine blows up as well. Thought I should mention that. And Yuma's over here drowning. Like, Yuma, you can't pull a Sora. This isn't Kingdom Hearts. Get the fuck up. Oh wait, who's that guy?